Hello and welcome to Money Markets and More with me, Dominic Frisby. And before we get started on today's piece, which is going to be looking at the Bitcoin ETF, I just wanted to plug my live shows that are coming up. There's my lecture with funny bits about gold, that's in London in February. And then there's the tour with my songs, that's coming up in March, April. There are dates in London, Somerset, Hampshire, Surrey and Essex. And it's a really fun show and details are in the comments. So, the Bitcoin ETF. Got a few thoughts I wanted to share with you about it, about the implications of the ETF for Bitcoin itself, and also for MicroStrategy, which is Michael Saylor's company, my recommended vehicle to play Bitcoin if you only use TradFi in the UK. And the company's done very well since we covered it in the summer. So let's start with the ETF, the Bitcoin itself, and is this a classic case of buy the rumor, sell the news? And the obvious parallel here is with the launch of the gold and silver ETFs back in the noughties, 2004 I think it was, and maybe 2006, and these were both major landmarks for the precious metals, as big as the Bitcoin ETF is for Bitcoin now. There was a lot of hype going into the launch of each, and on both occasions the pattern was the same. The price of the underlying commodity, gold and silver, it rose sharply going into the event, but then a day or three after the listing of the ETF, the price fell. And so both were classic cases of buy the rumour, sell the news. And I have to say, given the amount of excitement over the Bitcoin ETFs, it really would not be a surprise to see something similar now. However, the ETFs enabled a lot of money to come into the gold and silver markets, and over the long term, the gold and silver prices both went up. The ETFs were a major factor in the bull markets that gold and silver both enjoyed in the noughties. Now, as you know, I regard Bitcoin as a long-term buy and hold. It is a technologically superior form of money to fiat, and I'm of the opinion that any sell-off, if it happens, would only last a few months at most. As I say, if indeed it happens at all. The post-ETF gold and silver sell-offs only lasted several months. Yes, Bitcoin sell-offs can be brutal, so don't be surprised if, for example, Bitcoin were pull back to $25,000 or something. It's, anything's possible. Don't see it as likely, but anything's possible. There is, of course, the other possibility, indeed probability, that Bitcoin rallies on the news. There really isn't that much Bitcoin available to buy, and the kind of money that can now come into this market, especially from institutions and private investors who feel more comfortable buying ETFs than they do taking custody of Bitcoin, that amount of money is so large that over the longer term, these ETFs can only be bullish for the Bitcoin price. They're bullish because, one, they make it easier for a lot of people to own Bitcoin. Two, it's especially the case for the older generation who might have been put off by the tech. Now they can all just phone up their broker, go online to their broker, and they can own it in their pensions, their retirement accounts, whatever. The same goes for institutions. The ETF legitimizes their investment. There won't be also the, I can't afford a Bitcoin issue. You can invest £500 in Bitcoin without thinking, one Bitcoin is $45,000, that's too expensive, I can't afford it. A lot of people think that. It boils down all to the fact that a lot of new capital can enter the space, and there is only a finite supply of Bitcoins, and that points to one thing. A lot of capital, finite supply, higher prices. So moving on to MicroStrategy. Now, in my opinion, MicroStrategy is a great company, and Michael Saylor is a visionary. And I'm quite comfortable holding stock in a company that is steered by him. However, many investors, particularly in North America, have been using MicroStrategy as a Bitcoin proxy, a vehicle by which to play the Bitcoin price. And it now trades, or it was, trading at a 30 to 40% premium as a result. When the ETF launches, the prudent thing to do, and many are going to do this, in fact it's already happening, is to cash in the MicroStrategy premium and hold the ETF instead. And I'm pretty sure long Bitcoin ETF, short MSTR will become a trade. In fact, as I say, it's already happening until MicroStrategy returns to fair value. And that means MicroStrategy is going to meet with some selling. So a possible scenario is that MicroStrategy sells off or is flat even if the Bitcoin price rises. Now, Saylor and his team, they're no doubt going to be aware of this. They'll have some kind of plans in place. However, it leaves the UK investor in a very difficult situation. Because of FCA rulings, we in the UK cannot buy the Bitcoin ETFs when they launch. Our only option through a broker is MicroStrategy. So we take the hit. The stock's done very well, as I said, since I covered it in the summer. But if it meets with that scenario that I've described, and as I say, it's already happening, we're left in a pickle. The prudent trade is sell MicroStrategy, buy Bitcoin ETFs. And we in the UK cannot do that. We are left in a bind. Thank you very much, FCA. Owning Bitcoin directly, of course, it avoids the MicroStrategy issues, and my guide to buying Bitcoin is in the description. But I hope these thoughts guide you in whatever decisions you choose to take. I'm just hodling on. Good luck to all. Once again, a reminder of my live shows coming up, my lecture about gold and my tour. Details of all those are in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, goodbye.